So what's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Raider Critique, where this is your pregame from Week 8 against the New Orleans Saints. We all know it's the trade deadline this week, and it looks like that we did make one move. We traded Jonathan Hankins to the Dallas Cowboys for a 6th-round pick. And this is one thing I wanted to talk about because this is the one thing that made me happy all damn week, is that we fleeced the Cowboys one more time. You would think that these guys would learn that making deals with the Raiders is probably not in their best interest. The only reason why we're going to make any trades with them is to make sure that we get up on them and they go down on us. No pun intended. Pause. Either way, we've already fleeced them with Hankins. That's pretty much the way I see it. We did the same thing with Amari Cooper, how we got a 1st-round pick out of him. And when they traded him, they could only get a 5th-round pick out of him. But this also reminds me of another transaction that we did back in the day when we acquired Rolando, or when they acquired from us Rolando McClain. So, hey, Dallas, sorry that you're always at the butt end of our jokes, but hey, you guys set yourself up for this shit, man. We give you garbage players and get, a 6th-round pick might not be great, but dude, he's over 30. Most of the time when we would see him out there, he was being laid on because he'd fall on the fucking ground and he'd never get up. As a matter of fact, I believe the footage that we saw last week of him getting a tackle, he was being laid on, the guy got up, and that's when Hankins got up and made the tackle. I mean, literally, Hankins spent most of his time on the ground playing in this defense. He was slow. He couldn't get through the line. He had some push, but really not anything that we really needed at the nose position. Now, this opens up the position for rookies like Neil Farrell Jr. to come and step in, and maybe these guys can get some burn and get some real good playing time at that position, improving themselves to where we don't have to go and look for a defensive lineman. Now, we all know trade deadline is here. This is the only move that we have made. Check it out, man. Pulled this off of Instagram earlier, and I do believe it was yesterday. We have the 2nd highest red zone percentage in scoring this year, with a 95.5%, whether that be field goals or touchdowns. By the way, we went 3 for 3 in the red zone last week against the Texans, which I'm pretty sure that's helping out that percentile right there. But the Raiders have the 2nd highest red zone percentage in the NFL right now. Now check it out, man. I also want to go over some pregame stats for this game, because there's a lot going on with it. There's a lot of injuries on the injury report. So let me transition over to that. And we are going to go straight over here to the injury report. Now this is from Levi Damien on Twitter. All right, this is the full injury report as of right now. Jonathan Abram was limited on Friday. He's questionable for the game. Devontae Adams has been dealing with an illness, along with Jonathan Abram and Tashawn Bauer. Devontae Adams is also listed as questionable, but I believe that he's already come out and said that he's going to play. All right. And then we got Jayon Brown. He's in full participation. We missed him last week. And Derek Carr, who went out with a back injury and came back into the game, by the way, against the Texans, was in full participation. He is not listed as anything. Divine Diablo is questionable. He was limited on Friday. Jermaine Illuminor is in full. Cleveland Farrell is in full. Mac Hollins is questionable due to that heel. And then, of course, we got Josh Jacobs, who was limited on Wednesday and Thursday with a foot. But he is now in full participation on Friday and not listed on the injury report. Hunter Renfrow was in full Thursday and Friday. DJ Turner is questionable. And Darren Waller with the hamstring is also questionable. Now check this out. We're going against the New Orleans Saints. Let's see, which one do I want to go here? We're going to go total offense first. All right? The New Orleans Saints, on their offense, they're number 3. All right? With 2,788 yards, averaging 398.3 yards a game. Passing is 1,794, averaging 256.3 yards a game. And they have 994 rushing yards, averaging 142 yards a game. They have scored 175 points, averaging 25 points a game. And then we go down here to the Raiders. We have 2,203 yards total, averaging 367.2 yards a game. We have 1,432 passing yards, averaging 238.7 yards a game. Man, I really cannot believe that with all the weapons that we have on this team, we are only averaging about 238 passing yards a game. Josh Jacobs has been beasting for us. We have 771 rushing yards, averaging 128.5 yards a game, scoring 163 points, averaging 27.2. Now we go over to the defense. All right? We're both pretty far down the list here. We have given up 2,200 yards, giving up 366.7 yards a game. In the passing game, we've given up 1,576 yards, which is an average of 262.7. We've also given up 624 rushing yards with an average of 104 a game. All right? We've given up 150 points, basically averaging 25 points a game that this defense is giving up. Now, the Saints aren't much better. All right? They're a little bit better than we are, but they're not much better. Let's see, where are they at? I was just looking at them. Yeah, they're not in the top. Where are y'all at? Texans are like bottom of the barrel. Anybody see them, man, or am I just blind? Oh, yeah, they're right there. Okay, so they've getting Come on, gun. All right. 2,383 yards a game, or 2,383 yards total. 340 yards a game is what they're giving up. They've given up 1,521 yards passing with an average of 217.3 yards a game. And they've given up 862 yards rushing, averaging 123 yards a game. They've had 200 points scored against them, and with an average of 28.6 that opponents are dishing out on this New Orleans defense. We go over here, man. I like to go over to Pro Football Reference just to kind of see where everybody is sitting. Points against, bro. They are 31st of 32. 200 points. All right? But they've scored 175, placing them 7th among the 32 football teams. All right? Now, this goes over their injury report a little bit better. Jarvis Landry is out. Marshawn Lattimore is out. Michael Thomas is out. Paul Adebo is questionable with the knee. Jawan Johnson, questionable with a hamstring. David Onimata is questionable with an illness. Adrius Pete is questionable with a chest injury. And then you had Adam Troutman, a tight end who was limited on the practice status. He was questionable with an ankle. Then you have Keith Kirkwood, who's in full, and the rest of these guys down here who are in full, including Jameis Winston. who had a back injury earlier this year. He's back in full participation, but it doesn't look like they're doing anything with him anyway. Now, team stats, man, on total offense right here, they have 175 points. All right, but their opponent stats, they're giving up 200 points. They have 2,788 yards on 460 plays. They're averaging, pretty much averaging 6.1 yards per play with 16 turnovers. Jeez, they got 16 turnovers? It's hard to kind of go over all these stats and know exactly what they're talking about here. But team stats, they have in passing 12 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. All right? There are 161 completions on 253 attempts with 1,794 yards. All right? Their rushing is 84 first downs, 192 attempts for 994 yards, with 8 touchdowns, averaging per carry 5.2 yards. All right? They've also, they're pretty bad in the penalty department. They've had 52 penalties for 459 yards. And we could just go over those stats all day long. We'll just get confused anyway. But let's hop back on over here. I would rather hop back on over here where we've got the backdrops going on. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I will address all of you as soon as I get over there, as soon as I'm able to hop to it. Darren Waller is supposed to be back this week. Now, I know it says it's him listed as questionable, but it's a lot more promising this week than it was last week. Everybody in the Raider Nation, whether you love him or hate him, or you have some critique about him, we're all really invested in Darren Waller because we know what this guy can do healthy and what he can do if his mind's focused for this football team. Not only for himself, but for this football team. When the dude is on point, he's a weapon. He's a force to be reckoned with. We need him out there at 100%. So if he doesn't play this game, I won't be surprised. I also won't be all that upset neither because Foster Moreau is also right there. He might not be the same caliber as Darren Waller, but he is a viable backup, and he could possibly be a starter anywhere else. So, we're in good hands with Foster Moreau if Waller doesn't play, but it was reported on Wednesday that Darren Waller was back at practice, and supposedly he's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's been dealing with this hamstring injury since late last year. Well, this injury is not related to that. It is the other hamstring that he's having problems with, so he's done strained himself. And the only thing I can think of when it really comes to that is, you're either overworking yourself or you're not working out enough, and that's why you're sustaining all these injuries. So, really, the jury is still out on whether Waller will be here to play. I hope that he will be and be focused to play, but if not, we're in good hands with Foster Moreau. Now, we got Andy Dalton starting against this defense. Now, Andy Dalton is not very good. All right, he was a terrible Bengal, and he seems to be trying to make a resurgence in his career with the New Orleans Saints. He has started 4 games. All right, and let me actually go over here and look at his stats, man, because I had him booted up. Andy Dalton. Let's see here. You would think that it would just put it right up there, but I believe that he threw like 3 interceptions last game. Like, he didn't throw a whole bunch of interceptions throughout the year. But then last week, he showed exactly what he possibly could be. You know what I mean? Let's see. I want to say that he's on here somewhere. It would be under D's. Let me look for him right here. I really do. I would really like to bring him up because I would actually like to look at his stats. There he is. Andy Dalton. I bet I ain't even got the music playing. Oh, yeah, I do. All right. All right, Andy Dalton has started 4 games. He's 1-3 with a 63.4 completion percentage, 946 yards passing, 7.2 yards per attempt, 7 touchdowns, and 4 picks. All right? So we got Andy Dalton, who's coming in here with 4 interceptions on a lackluster secondary where we have been suffering from injuries. You know what I'm saying? And we have been suffering from injuries over there without Nate Hobbs. You know, this secondary looks completely different. But this is a good par-up game for this secondary, especially, you know, we got Andy Dalton coming in here who really hasn't been that good. And then from looking at the injury report, he doesn't have many targets to throw to right now anyway. You know, unless there's some type of resurgence from some of their no-name guys on their wide receiver squad, this guy's going to have a long day, especially with Max Crosby coming at him damn near every play. You know, and, you know, I'm cool with that. Put this dude on his heels, make him make mistakes. We know he can make mistakes. It's definitely a key to winning. Today is just the offense has got to be efficient and the defense has got to dominate. And Andy Dalton, this is the perfect quarterback to dominate against because this dude, it's known he's been in the league forever. If you give this dude the opportunity to throw the ball, he can kill you. But if you put him on his heels and you make him scared, he will make mistakes. He will make irrational decisions, and he will throw that shit in triple coverage, and maybe Deron Harmon can come away with another pick six. Alvin Kamara said this, and we're going to whoop their ass, and we're going to make Dennis Allen feel good. Well, Alvin Kamara ain't done shit this year, to be completely honest with everybody. I don't even think he has one single rushing touchdown. He might have maybe one 100-yard game, but he's not like our running back who's been beasting over pretty much 140 yards for the past 3 weeks. Now, they do have Cameron Jordan on defense, but really outside of that, who else do we see on that defense that we're going to be scared of? Marshawn Lattimore is hurt. So that means if Devontae Adams is playing, they're going to have to be trying to play a bracket system against Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, and Darren Waller if he happens to be out there. Not to mention a few of the other studs that we've had appear on the scene in Mac Hollins, if he's actually able to play today, which he played last week. I'm pretty sure he's going to play tomorrow too. I keep saying today because I'm thinking today is fucking game day, but it's Saturday. But tomorrow, you know. But he said this because, you know, we got an old foe coming into town in Dennis Allen, who used to be our coach. By the way, this dude was, if you guys don't remember, he was like one of the shittiest coaches we ever had, right next to Lane Kiffin. And it's amazing to see that this asshole actually got a head coaching job somewhere else with as terrible as he was as the Raiders head coach. Now, he played offensive coordinator the last few seasons or something like that, but they finally gave him a shot after Sean Payton decided to retire. And here we go. We got Dennis Allen as a head coach. And I think we need to just go ahead and reiterate why in the hell this guy did not stay our head coach. Because he's absolute garbage. And we need to just go ahead and hand them their ass. So we are 2-4 on the season. Going up against the 2-5 New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, Louisiana. And it's going to be a very hostile environment. Definitely during Halloween weekend, this ought to be a huge treat to be seeing on the television. I know I'm going to be sitting at home. I actually should have been at this game, but life instances and situations have made it to where I wasn't able to afford the trip to get out there to go. So, you know, I'm going to be sitting at home watching this game when it goes down, and I expect nothing less than a Raiders victory on this, man. 28-20. With all of their injuries that they've got going on the defensive side of the ball for the New Orleans Saints, we should be able to pass, and we also should be able to run. And I mean run efficiently like we have the past 3 weeks with Josh Jacobs carrying this team to victory. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and beat them 28-20. I want to hear what all of you got to think now that I can finally transfer over here to the chat. I want to shout out everybody in the chat since I'm finally able to be here. I see that there's a few of you. Wasted, man. Brother, I appreciate you for showing up, man. Thank you so much for being here. Faran, hey, you're new, bro. If you're new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications for more Raider content right here on the Raider Critique, where we go over 2 shows during the on-season and sporadic news during the off-season. But here, man, we don't drink the corporate Kool-Aid, and we tell the truth with intensity. We don't really fuck with rumors around here. We will if we have to, but in all actuality, man, we don't really try to deal with the rumor mill around here. There's plenty of channels out there who deal with rumor mills. We just like to tell you exactly what's going on at that point and how we feel at this point, knowing the information that is 100% guaranteed. Robert Pena, brother, hey, I appreciate y'all being here, man. But Dirty Low, that's great, man. I'm glad to see all y'all here. Y'all kick ass, dude, for showing up. And I know that I don't really do a really good job when it comes to keeping my timing schedules, but I'll tell you this, man, being a dad's pretty rough. There ain't no doubt about it, especially when you're a dad of 4, and they all want to be trying to get up the same time you get up, knowing that you got a live, and then they jump on the internet and they make you all slow with your streaming service, and it's like, oh, man, come on, But they're great, man. It's great to have them in here. What's going on, Alfredo? Man, it is good to see every single one of y'all here, but this has been your pregame review for the Las Vegas Raiders and the New Orleans Saints. Look, I don't see any reason why we should lose this game. Yeah, their defense is all right, but our offense is better. You know what I mean? And our defense is starting to come into their own, and Andy Dalton is really not that good of a quarterback. Alvin Kamara is a good running back, yes, but we are an excellent run-stopping team. So I could see that happening. I really could, honestly. I could honestly see that happening, that we're going to stop the run. You know what I'm saying? And we're not, in all actuality, man, I don't see us having any problems stopping the run. If we can stop the run and force them to pass, it's going to make our life a lot easier because Andy Dalton, dude, it's already well known that if you put him in the, equation and you put him, on his heels, if you mess with him enough, he will get rattled. And when he gets rattled, man, he makes mistakes. There's a reason why he didn't make it in Dallas, and there's a reason why Cincinnati got rid of him. So, in all actuality, this should be a winnable game. It really should. What's going on, Bugsy? Now, I can't get my highlights to come up, man, or else I would have your guys' comments listed up here. But what do you guys think about this game? How do you feel like it's going to end up? I'm thinking 28-20. I would actually be happier with like a 30-17. You know what I mean? But this game is winnable, and we can't look past this game. But with all their defensive injuries, man, hey, we should put a whipping on that ass like the New Orleans Saints have not received this year. With all the talent on our roster and everybody fucking coming back, we are a force to be reckoned with. And with Josh Jacobs running the ball like he is, I don't think the Saints really have a chance. If we can keep our offense on the field and put up a shit ton of points, I'm talking anywhere in between 20 and 40 points, this game is ours. And then we move on to, I believe, Jacksonville next week, who's also pretty suspect. So anyway, it's all I've got for all y'all this morning, man. I hope y'all are having a wonderful weekend. It's really droopy and rainy and nasty over here in Texas, but hey, I'll take it. We need it for the lakes and streams. And I haven't been fishing in over a year because all of our shit's been pretty much dried up. I'd like to go ahead and put my damn pole in the water, if you know what I mean. And go out there and drink some brews and maybe smoke some bud and chill out with, my family and whatnot, and actually be able to go and enjoy the outside now that the temperatures have finally come down from 100 degrees. But man, I'm real optimistic that this team can turn it around. I think that we can have a real good run here. If we win the next 3 games, that puts us at 7-4. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it would be 7-4 if we win the next 3 games. We're already 2-4, so, or we'd be 5-4. But either way, man, it's been an underperforming team on what we expected to see out of them. And I know that we're just looking for optimism now because we just want to win. We had our hopes built all up around this team that we were going to be a force to be reckoned with. And to be honest with you, we've been middle of the pack. Middle of the pack. And I'm cool with middle of the pack as long as we're getting the W's. We've lost a lot of real close games, but this team looks like they're finally starting to get the system. It looks like they're finally starting to understand, what the terminology is. And now that we're getting that, we shouldn't have any problems getting these W's. And we definitely need them before we start facing our division rivals again. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to go out there and beat the Chargers, and we definitely have score to settle with those Chiefs. And it would be good to be able to go into those games on a win streak. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut on out of here. This is your pregame review for the Week 8 week of the NFL season. The Raiders versus the Saints in Louisiana on October 29th, 2022. I hope everybody has a splendid day, man, and, spend all kinds of time with your family and just kind of be stress-free, because this game's going to be a nail-biter tomorrow, and you're going to need everybody, every single one of us are going to need all of our senses and our patience, because we always seem to play down to our opponents when they're worse than we are. And talent-wise, this team is way better than the Saints. But don't be surprised if we play down to our competition this week. So anyway, I'm going to get on out of here, man. I'm Raider Gunn. This was the Raider Critique. And we're always here to say, it's Raider Nation for life.
Coach Country, let's ride.